Hello everyone, my name is Ruben Aguilar, and this is Bremen's own Bravescast podcast. Today I am joined by Nathan Altenbern, who is a freelance director and animator.
Hello.
So Nathan, what got you in directing and animation?
Well, from as far back as I can remember, I was always into movies and TV shows and all that jazz, watching it when I was a tot. Mainly superhero stuff, was big into Spider-Man, Star Wars, especially dinosaurs, and big guy Godzilla. But some of my favorite aspects of watching all that stuff on TV and on DVDs and stuff was the behind-the-scenes features. And especially the one I remember the most being the most influential was I was watching Jurassic Park 3, which not the best of the trilogy, obviously, but what it did have is that the DVD had this crazy behind-the-scenes feature where they went into the process of how they built all the dinosaurs with the latex and the foam and the animatronics, and I saw that behind-the-scenes feature, and I was sold. I was like, I want to do that. I want to make movies like that. That's where I want to be. And so I got my first camera in the third grade, and right from the get-go, I started making quote unquote stop motion movies with my Legos and my Godzilla figures. A lot of which I still own in the closet and stuff. And I put quotes on stop motion because I didn't understand the concept at the time. I just hit record and then stop, and then I moved them, and then I hit record and stop. So every segment that I would get would just be like this, literally a second of straight up video, not even a picture, just a second of video. And so you'd play that back, and it'd be like the most choppy animation you'd ever seen. But, that's what I did. And as I grew up, I clawed together whatever project I could with friends and family, because I'm often turning them into class projects through school, because growing up here in the desert Gilbert of Arizona, not a lot of opportunities for film education. So it was just basically a process of trial and error till I could fly out to college and pursue it for real.
Very awesome, heck yeah. So, what are some things that you've worked on?
Well, I just graduated, so I got a double major in cinema arts and sciences, which is just a big fancy film way of saying filmmaking, and I focused in directing. And my other major was stop motion animation. So what I did was, with my capstone project, I tried to combine both the live action and the stop motion, because my goal was to use stop motion as a visual effects medium. Because I have a firm belief that with modern technology, it can absolutely make a big return as a visual effects medium rather than just a solo animation medium, which don't get me wrong, I love stop motion films, but I just see that with the technology that we've made thus far, I think we can erase some of the negatives about stop motion that initially kicked it out from being a visual effects medium back in 1993 when Jurassic Park was in production. But outside of that, I also do a lot of 2D animation and storyboarding, because storyboarding is a pathway to becoming a director in the industry. A little known fact. Because you're dealing with constructing shots and dealing with interpreting the script and the story and the characters and stuff like that. And some of the storyboards I've done regarding dinosaurs and prehistoric life has even gotten me a couple of awards. So
Awesome. So you're also working on a fan revival of My Life as a Teenage Robot, and what made you want to do that?
Well, back in middle school, I went on a nostalgic binge where I just started watching a bunch of my old favorite cartoon shows, and I was quickly disappointed to learn how so many of my favorite shows were canceled before they could have their big finale. And I started to get real ticked about that, because of just how many I ran into. So it got me wanting to try to revive one. As well as a 15-year-old kid could do. So I went through a handful of candidates, eventually landing on Teenage Robot, because A, I felt it was the most mistreated out of the ones I went over. B, the art style spoke to me, because I've always been a big fan of Art Deco in general. And Teenage Robot is an Art Deco show, so hey. But C, the most important to me, that as a director, I found it had the most potential to go places as a story, because like I said, I was a big fan of Spider-Man. This show is essentially the Spider-Man story of a high schooler who doubles as a superhero and goes fighting crime while trying to live a normal life. However, unlike Spider-Man, who can land in the high school, take off the mask, and become Peter Parker, this main character, Jenny Wakeman, XJ9 the robot, can't do that. She comes to class and she's still the superhero. She can't take the mask off, essentially. She's forever distant in that regard, as even though she wants to be a normal person or a normal teenager, there's always that aspect of she's different right from the get-go. And that's like, ooh, so immediately there's some there's a bunch of different stories that we can address with that. So that's where I felt this one speaks to me the most.
All right, that's really interesting. How's working on the show so far?
Well, slow, because being a hobby project, we have no budget and we work in our free time only. We always stress to put school, life, and actual paid jobs first because we got no money. And it's obviously I started it in high school and now I have recently graduated college. So yeah, it's a little slow. But what the project has essentially turned into over the years was not only a way to bring back the show in some capacity, but now it's evolved into just a way of improving our own artwork and helping each other grow creatively. We give each other tips and feedback, which then goes into our development as artists because we're all amateurs, and then that goes into our job portfolios. So it started out as a production, and I put that in quotes because, again, as well as a production made by a 15-year-old could go. But it evolved into just friends trying to help each other out, all while working towards a specific goal.
That's awesome, man. All right. Thank you so much, Nathan.
Thank you for having me.